Hello everybody, this is Chris and this is my channel Barnum 11970. Thank you for taking the time to check out this video. And as you can see by the title of this video, I've decided that it's a time to re-enter the market for gold and silver purchases. Now, I am not here to tell anybody what to do. I'm here to just share my opinion of what I am going to do, and I have a referral that I want to mention from an old friend that resurfaced back on YouTube, and he does some very good analysis for his thoughts about silver especially, and I'm going to refer that, and I want you guys to check it out and subscribe to his channel. But the first thing I want to mention is that this is my own opinions about this. What you do with your money or your currency is up to you. Now, I know that in the ultimate end, to have a whole another monetary system is the ultimate, but in this reality that we have right now, money is, or the currency, the paper currency, is the ruler at this time. Gold and silver is the next best thing because they cannot regulate it if we continue to own it. It makes it more and more difficult if people actually own the physical property. Now, as you see with the dip in the past couple of years, it's actually kept a lot of people away, even myself included, because I was waiting to see where a bottom was. And as you could see by some of the charts, gold is pretty much stabilized to stay over the $1,000 mark. You have silver staying roughly around the 14. It never dropped to 10, and gold didn't drop to 500 like some people were saying. So in my opinion, I feel that enough time has gone by to see that we may have hit that bottom. And if you notice, even the charts going back to all the way back to the 1980s, the way they manipulated the market was by dumping paper gold and silver stock on the market, flooding it, lowering the price. But every time they did that, people saw it as a buying opportunity to buy the physical metals, which took the physical metals off of the playing field, thus bringing it back up again. So if you notice back in the 1980s, they were able to bring the price down. If you check the long-term charts, down to $5 or below, and it stayed that way for decades. Now, going from the 50 that we had, and in a couple of years got down to 14, that is a big drop. But if you notice, in the grand scheme of things, they could not manage to get it all the way down. And the more physical metal we take off the market, the more challenging it is for them. Now, of course, they hold all the cards. They make the laws. They can change things around. So who knows what tomorrow can bring? And my channel has never been about guaranteeing that everything is going to happen the way we want it to, because pretty much nothing in life is guaranteed. All you can do is trust your own instincts and do what you feel is best. So, in my humble opinion, and again, I'm not telling anybody else what to do. I am seriously considering getting back into the silver and gold market, especially silver with the prices. It's just easier to afford silver because 1 ounce of silver is going to cost you between $15 and $17, depending on where you get it, because you have to factor in the spot price that they add and the shipping costs and things like that. As opposed to gold is probably going to be 12, 1300 for an ounce. So obviously, if you have the income, you purchase what you think is best. But there's a channel that I want to recommend that he's from an old friend of mine that used to talk to me lots of times. I consider this person a good friend, even though I've never met him. He lives in Australia, and he reopened a channel, and I will post the link in the description below if you want to check it out. The name of the channel is Inside Silver, and he gives some really good analysis. He shows a lot about the charts and gives his opinion of why he feels now is the better time once again to get back into the silver market, and he's making his predictions of where it goes. Now, obviously, with any prediction, it's hard to pinpoint an exact amount, and I have been to the point where I still believe in everything that I said, even from day one, even with the prices dropping, because I worry about the long-term effect. And it could drop to $2 for the next 10 years. And then if all of a sudden, on the 11th year, all of a sudden it shoots up 50, 100, whatever, well, that's the time I worry about. I don't worry about the current market, because the dollar right now is the king. But if you research anything about the monetary system throughout history, they are all doomed to fail because the systems are based on greed from greedy people. and eventually it topples over. And I always tell people, and I've said this before, it's better to be 5 years too early than 5 seconds too late. Because if you live underneath a dam that's cracking, it may take a decade to crack. But once it does, if you're not out of its way, you're not going to survive. So I'm not trying to do this as the typical fear porn, saying, oh, if you don't get silver, you're not going to survive. But it can help you if those situations do arise. I've never stopped believing in that, even though I haven't talked about it as much, because, I mean, it's like anything. If you know about how they manipulate us, it's all about using the emotions. When things are high, everybody wants to talk about it. When it gets low, all of a sudden people want to stay away from it. But it's not like all of a sudden I sold everything I had. I still have all the gold and silver since I started talking about this. I'm holding it for protection, for a potential of what could happen down the road. And as you see through events from even things like simple storms, like the blizzard that we had recently, if you lived on the East Coast, there were plenty of people that had time to prepare for it and still rushed out to go get food, rushed out to go get, their everyday things. And even though I don't have a bank account, I do have a federal credit union account. And they said they were going to be redoing their system, their automated system on the computer and everything. And they said it would take over the weekend. Well, it took 3 extra days. And you should see the people that were waiting online at the bank almost in a panic. Well, the Federal Credit Union. They weren't sure if they could even get their money because the ATMs weren't working right, and the computer, they couldn't check how much money they had, currency they had, and people start to panic. So just imagine if all of a sudden there was another stock market crash or something that happened, or there's just a simple storm, or there's a bank run. Who knows? There's endless possibilities. So it's not meant to scare you. It's meant to have you say, be prepared for something just in case a scenario happens. And to me, I feel like because of the fact that I could see that they could not crash it as low as they used to, that there's the possibility that they do not have the same hold on it, because as more and more people get into the physical metals and hold on to them, it keeps them out of the market. And that's why you see they use things like paper currency and digital currency, because they don't need to store up anything or go hunt for anything or manufacture anything to type in a bunch of numbers on a screen. So they have no fiscal responsibility. But as we see throughout history, is the more they produce as far as the currency is concerned, the less valuable it becomes, to the point where eventually you can't afford anything with that currency and it falls down and collapses. It is not an infinite thing. So, yes, do I wish we could have a world where there was no necessary need for any kind of monetary system and we can all have everything alike and everybody can just push a button and it'll produce anything we want? Of course. But as of now, we don't live in that world. So we have to do what we can to protect ourselves. So trust me, I know there's going to be people saying that ultimately gold and silver is not the end of all end answers. And to that, I would say I agree. But until another system comes along and dethrones the corruptors in this planet, we have to find any way that we can to try and make it through what they ultimately want to do. And that's make us poor. Because the poorer we are, the more we are going to be in need of their quote unquote generosity by allowing us to have their Ponzi scheme system. So, again, I am not going to tell anybody you should go out and buy silver. You should go out and buy gold. What I'm saying is, I am getting back into it at this point, and others are starting to see that again. Whether you agree with that or not is totally up to you. I'm not here to sell you any silver. I'm not here to sell you any gold. I'm not here to buy anything from you, and I'm not here to mislead you. I'm talking about what I feel, and what you do is totally up to you. So, I've continued to do other alternatives because any kind of physical asset can protect you in better ways than a currency, because once the currency collapses, or if the currency collapses, it's no longer useful. So there are always ways. Why do you think, for example, if you look at very wealthy people, They buy real estate, of course. They will buy cars, but they will even buy things like art. So one of the things that I've been collecting recently as an investment is comic books, which is a form of art. Now, obviously, I could not at this time afford a Picasso or, some kind of fancy painting like some millionaire can. But if people use the sake of, well, a comic book is just paper, well, what is art? Art is just a canvas with a bunch of paint on it, but people will spend millions of dollars on it because they feel it has worth. Now, obviously, are comic books is the same comparison as paintings? No, but it's the same concept where you're taking your fiat currency and exchanging it for other physical assets. So property is a great thing, but it is hard to move. You can get investments in vehicles or other collectibles. Some people hoard armory, like guns, ammunition, things like that. You could turn around and sell those for a pretty good penny if situations arise. So there's always ways. But if you are a person who feels that the best way to stay secure in your life is to put all of your paper currency into a bank and trust the government will do the right thing, I am safe to say you will probably more likely be disappointed than excited with the outcome. So that's up to you. So the channel that I recommend, like I said, is Inside Silver. He's a great gentleman. We used to talk back and forth. I won't get into his personal stuff because that's on him if he wants to talk about that. It's not my right to be talking about that at all. So what he wants to share is up to him. But I want you guys to subscribe to his channel, hear what he has to say. And if you do, just say you came from Barn on 11970. Let him know. He just reopened this channel a couple of weeks ago. And like I said, great guy, and he's going to give you some very good charts and information about silver. And it might be something that you might be interested in. So check him out. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments and hit the old proverbial subscribe button if you want to be a part of this channel. Thanks for listening to what I had to say, and whatever you choose to do, just do whatever makes you happy, and don't worry about what other people's opinions are of what you do, because there are some people in this world that feel the need to try and keep you from doing what you want to do, and they should just mind their own business and worry about themselves. Anyway, thanks for watching. My name is Chris. This is Barn on 11970. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.